Let us now do an illustration based on velocity time graph, and this illustration will help us to develop detailed concepts about the velocity time graph, and this concept will help us to solve numerical based on velocity time graph. So I have a velocity time graph here which is represented by graph A, B, C, D, E, and I can tell you that here this is point V1 and this is point V2, and these are the intervals 0, T1, T2, T3 and then T4. So if I talk about at T is equal to 0, I am talking about point A. What does this indicate? That body starts with velocity V1. That means when you start observation of a body, it already has a velocity V1. So your T is equal to 0 indicate point A. That means body starts with velocity V1. If I talk about time interval from 0 to T1, I am talking about graph AB. Remember, if I talk about velocity time graph, the slope of velocity time graph is nothing but acceleration. If I talk about AB, it is a straight line, slope is constant, straight line with acute angle, that means slope is constant and positive. That means acceleration is constant and positive. It means it's a uniform acceleration. That means from A to B, body accelerates uniformly, and from graph you can see that the body accelerates uniformly from V1 to V2 in time interval 0 to T1. So I can say graph AB indicates body accelerates uniformly from V1 to V2. If I talk about time interval T1 to T2, I am talking about graph BC. That is nothing but a horizontal line. Slope is 0. That means acceleration is 0. That means uniform velocity. So in the region BC, from time interval T1 to T2, body moves with constant velocity V2. If I talk about interval T2 to T3, I am talking about graph CD. Again, CD is inclined. It is a straight line with an obtuse angle, you can see. That means slope is negative. It means negative acceleration, and since line is a straight, it is a constant, it means a uniform retardation. That means in the region C to D, body retards uniformly, but I can tell you that at C, its velocity was V2, and at D, you can see at D, what is the velocity at D? Come on, tell me. 0. That means region C to D indicates the uniform retardation of a body from speed V2 to 0. That means at instant T3, the body comes to rest. So I can write here at T3, body comes to rest, right? So T3 is the instant where body comes to rest. So if I talk about graph DE, it indicates again a straight line. So what do you mean by this term? If I say graph DE, the velocity in this region is negative. And what do you mean by negative velocity? The body now moving in the reverse direction. So what I can tell you to consider an example where a car starts with velocity V1, moving in the forward direction, accelerates till V2, then for certain interval of time moves uniformly and then retards, right, apply the brakes and comes to rest. So what do you observe? That car was moving, the velocity was increasing from V1 to V2, moving uniformly for certain instant of time and then retarding and coming to rest. So what do you observe? Body is still moving in the forward direction till it comes to rest. So I can say that the graph ABCD, what does it indicate? Come on, tell me. It indicates forward motion, because velocity in no time is negative. The velocity least is 0. That means while moving, after some time the body comes to rest. So if I talk about region DE over here, what does region D indicate? Indicates negative velocity, right? That means now the body starts moving in the reverse direction. To region DE, come on, tell me, it indicates reverse direction or reverse motion. Now the body is moving in the opposite direction, right? And DE indicates again it is a straight line with negative, can I say, velocity. It means it's a uniform acceleration in the opposite direction. So I can tell you that in region DE, the body accelerates uniformly in the opposite direction. So again I will tell you the graph. At point A, the body starts with velocity v1. From the region A to B, the body accelerates uniformly till v2. In the region BC, the body is moving with uniform velocity v2. In the region CD, the body is now retarding and comes to rest. So A, B, C, D here indicates that body is still moving in the forward direction. At D, it comes to rest. Now after D, the body starts moving in the opposite direction, now with uniform acceleration. So this graph will help you to solve so many numericals based on velocity time graph.